morning and welcome to my Four Boys and an NL Girl podcast. Thanks so much for joining me. It is Thursday morning and I am coming to you from beautiful Newfoundland and Labrador, the most easterly province in Canada and the most easterly point in North America, in fact. It is an overcast, slightly foggy, drizzly day here this morning, so I thought I would brighten up my day and do a podcast like I usually do on Thursdays. Thanks so much for joining me. A huge welcome to those of you who are returning and keep coming back to see my little podcast. I really appreciate it. And welcome to anybody who's new and is viewing for the first time. Thanks so much for coming and checking me out. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you like what you see. And for anybody who does, please click on the subscribe button underneath the screen. And then I can speak to you on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, which would be great. This podcast is about knitting, crocheting, sewing, quilting, cross-stitching, rug hooking, about a variety of crafty things that I do. I'm a very creative person. I like to make a variety of different things. In the run of a week, I'm always usually making something different, and I'm trying to share that, a little bit of that on my podcast, so I hope that you enjoy it. I'd like to say that I have no finished objects for you this week. My bunting that I finished last week, I'm still really happy with, and one of my viewers had said that they were interested in making one, but when I said it took so long to sew in tails, they thought maybe that they wouldn't be interested in making one. And I think I am going to make another one, so sewing in all those tails didn't turn me off making another bunting. I think when the next time I make another one, I will sew in the tails as I go, because it wouldn't take very long. And then by the time you're finished, you would have a bunting ready to sew on the string that it hangs from. So I am going to be making another winter bunting. I think I'm going to do a crocheted granny triangle, so I'm looking for patterns for that. And I'm not planning on doing that between now and Christmas. I think that'll be probably a New Year project to make the bunting, because I'm going to hang 2 or 3 in my windows in my living room here where I podcast. So I'll show some more information about that when I get there. I don't have any finished objects, but I do have 2 works in progress that I wanted to show you. My first work in progress are the socks that I'm knitting for my husband. And I have made some progress in these. I've made it all the way to the colored part of the sock. I should have untangled this before I started showing it to you. Looks very tangly with all this yarn hanging off it. Anyway, there's a few ends. So here is the sock, and as you can see, I'm working my way up the stripes of the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, and I'm really liking the colors. A friend of mine had mentioned that when she watched my podcast, another friend, that this part shows as black on the when I'm filming. This is actually a really deep forest green, like a black green, so it's not black, and I think it kind of goes along with the blues and the greens and such that are going to stripe up in the sock. So I am knitting these 2 at a time. The my other sock, actually I've started knitting up the other sock because I'm not quite as far ahead on the other sock as I am on this one. And my goal is that when I finished one sock, I quickly finish the others, and then I have 2 socks finished at a time. So it is certainly taking me longer to knit. But to be honest, I'm not a fast knitter and I'm not a fast sock knitter. This is only my second pair of socks, really. I don't think I'm ever going to be very quick with them, because I like to work on other projects as well, but I really enjoy having a pair of socks in my bag to show you and to work on when I'm out, like when I'm at the kids' swimming lessons or whatever they're up to. I can, if I'm doing the school run, I always show up a half hour earlier to get parking at our school. Our school's parking is atrocious, so I always show up earlier to and knit a few rows while I'm waiting before I go in and pick up the boys. And here's my gorgeous stitch marker from Knitting I Love. Thank you, Barbara. I don't know if you can see that there. I did show it last week though, if you're interested. And this shows the progress that I made this week. So that's actually, for me, pretty impressive. The next thing that I'm going to show you is my Pure Joy shawl. And this shawl was not giving me a whole lot of joy at the beginning of this week, I have to say. I went on Monday down to Cast On Cast Off to get something from Katie down there to put in my fiber share package, which is all parceled up and ready to go. I just need to get it in the mail now. And anyway, when I was down there, I was ripping back the mistake that I had made in this shawl and trying to figure out where I had gone wrong. And I've since figured out where I've gone wrong. And if anybody else has had this problem with the shawl, I'm not going to give too much away because this is a paid pattern. But in the eyelet row, I was missing a yarn over at the end of the eyelets before I started the last 3 stitches. And so now that I figured that out, my eyelet rows are going much more smoothly. And here, let's see if I can show it the right way this time. So here's what I have finished so far. Hopefully you can see that. So this is the setup wedge here is done. So, and the first and second wedges are done. I've just started the third wedge. I'm loving how this has turned out. It's a really fun pattern. I'm enjoying it so far, and you can see from my another lovely progress marker that I got from Barbara how far I have knit from here all the way down and over. So the thing is about this shawl, it gets longer and wider as it gets longer in the height. So I would imagine that my knitting is going to slow down a bit and it won't be as impressive a gain next week. But I'm really enjoying this now that I've figured out what my constant mistake was. And I'm really enjoying how it's knitting up, and I'm really happy with the colors. And I mentioned last week that I'm using Sweet Georgia's Tough Love sock in the colorway. This colorway is called Deep Cove, and this one in between is called Melon. And then if you know the Pure Joy shawl, you'll know that the very last wedge of this shawl is going to be a nice big wedge done in Melon, so it'll have that significant contrast, which is really pretty. So those are my 2 works in progress for the week. Hopefully next week I can show you some more progress on those. So the next part of my podcast is a new part of my podcast. I don't have any Canada Post deliveries to show you right now. I am fairly certain I'm going to go pick up something in the mail this afternoon to show for next week, because I have a couple things that are coming in the mail to me. Exciting! I love getting yarny presents in the mail. This morning, actually, I'm taping quite early. I don't know if you can see by the clock, but it's only 20 after 9 in the morning. I am heading off to the Newfoundland and Labrador Craft Council craft fair with a friend of mine starting at 10 o'clock this morning. So I wanted to get this podcast taped early because we're going to meet up, do some shopping, and then I have to drop some things off at Fiber Lily because I'm excited to announce, and I'm really nervous about this, I have gotten into designing cross-stitch kits, and these are my first 2 kits. I'm really excited about them, but I'm also quite nervous. I haven't got very many kits done up yet because I want to see how whether or not people are interested in them, but I wanted to show them on the podcast because this podcast does involve some cross-stitch. And I have alluded, I think, a couple times during the past few episodes that I have been working on something exciting that's a bit of a secret, and this is it. So I have designed, for the moment, 2 cross-stitch kits that are going to be available at Fiber Lily or from me. That also means that I'm going to be opening an Etsy shop with my kits and patterns available. That's not going to happen for a little while though, because I'm trying to get the kits out and the patterns done. Etsy recommends that you have at least 10 products before you launch your shop. If I have any interest from viewers or from friends and family who want to buy the kits online, then I will open the Etsy shop earlier. But if not, I'm going to wait until I have another couple designs ready. So now, I probably should have taken these out of the kits. I'm going to get the paper versions and I'll be right back. Okay, back again. I didn't want the bags to reflect. So I'm also going to put a picture of these 2 kits on the screen so that you can see them a little bit more close up, because I'm not sure how the camera's going to focus in on that. So this is the first one. It's called Mansard Memories Red because it's a mansard roofed house. It's very similar to, it's based on the jelly bean row houses that are very popular and historic here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. There's a red version and a blue version. I just have the red version available right now. That's that one. The other one is a Christmas cross stitch. It's called Christmas Dory. And I don't know if you can see that there. Like I said, I'm going to put pictures up on the screen. It's a dory is a traditional boat for Newfoundland and Labrador that fishermen used to use to go out and fish when the cod fishery was open. This one has a Christmas tree in it, a flag, and a cute little lantern. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by somebody walking down the road with a beautiful golden retriever. We're going to be puppy setting a golden retriever this week for friends of ours, and we're all very excited about that. We haven't had a dog in the house in a number of years. Well, we dog sit every now and then, but it's been quite a while since we've dog sat, so we're quite excited to have a puppy, a 5-month-old here for a few days. So anyway, back to the cross-stitch kits, off on a tangent there. So each kit will have the Aida cloth, the piece of Aida cloth, a needle, all the thread that you need to complete the kit. I also have, for anybody who doesn't know how to cross stitch, I've included a instruction booklet complete with pictures. So there's a sample of the, here, try this one. Sample of what the pictures look like. I was really lucky to get together with a friend of mine, Maggie, from Maggie Langer Photography, and I'll put Maggie's information up on the screen as well. She did all the photography for the kits and for the title pages and for all the instruction booklets. Then each one will have a color copy of the cross-stitch kit. I won't show you that in too much detail. I want to keep that a surprise for anybody who's interested in getting the kits. Yes, so that's two. That's 2 kits that I am going to have available. They're under the name Fourboysandanlgirl Designs, and I'm really excited about this new venture. It's something I've been interested in doing for quite a while. I did a 1.5-year program in interior design a number of years ago, and I've since then been very interested in doing my own designs somehow in the crafty world. And here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we have a lot of heritage buildings and landscape that I want to capture in my cross-stitch kits. So I have a lot of ideas about future kits, some very specific to different parts of the island and Labrador. So my next 2 kits will probably concentrate on Labrador scenery and cultural lifestyle. And then the other ones I have ideas for are of older buildings or houses that I've found around the province, around the island that I've taken pictures of. So I'm very interested in cross-stitching some of those. So that's my new design venture. I hope you're as interested in them as I am, because I've really had fun designing them and putting them together. Like I said, it's a bit nerve-wracking. I'm a bit nervous about having them actually in a real bricks and mortar store, but I'm also excited about it at the same time. The next part of my podcast is Podcast Love, and I have a couple. I can't even remember if I did any Podcast Love last week, and I may not have. I'm not very consistent with my titles or my sections of the podcast, I guess. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Legacy Knits podcast. Sue and Chelsea. They're one of the very first podcasts that I started watching when I got into knitting podcasts, and they certainly inspired me to perhaps start a podcast of my own. Sue and Chelsea are kind of the Gilmore Girls of the knitting podcast world in that they're a mother and daughter team. They have recently started dyeing yarn. I was lucky enough to score, this is actually one of their yarns that I scored from their shop a few months ago. And they're doing a gorgeous job, and I think they're doing really well with their yarn sales. So Sue and Chelsea have been a huge inspiration for me. They're amazing because they get so much knitting done. And I find, I don't know if I'm a slow knitter or maybe I podcast more frequently than other podcasters, but there are some podcasters out there that just do a huge amount of knitting in the run of a short period of time. The other podcast that I want to mention is called The Crazy Sock Lady, and it's hosted by Kay. Kay is fairly new to podcasting as well. I think she's like me, has 8 or 9 episodes out. And she's another lady who gets a lot of knitting done in what seems to me a short period of time. She loves knitting socks. She does shawls as well. And she's a mom like me. She also has 2 boys, and I have 3 boys, so I feel that that's something that we have in common, which is really neat. So hi Kay, and hi Sue and Chelsea. If you ever watch my podcast, it would be great if you dropped me a note and said, or comment and said hello, because I really enjoy watching yours, and it'd be nice to know that you're watching me as well. This is a very short and sweet podcast this morning. Like I said, I'm off to a craft fair to do some shopping. I want to get the kits dropped off at Fiber Lily. and I'm really excited about both. The craft fair is one of the, I'd say the biggest craft fairs that happen in the St. John's area around Christmas, and it's more of an artisan fair. The quality of the crafts that are there are absolutely stunning. Really high quality crafts and gifts that are available, so I'm going to go have a look, and I may take some video footage of that as well this morning. So take care. Thanks so much for joining me. I can't tell you how much it means to me to know that I'm not just sitting here talking to myself, that there are people out there who are regular viewers. We've hit just over 200 subscribers now, which is really exciting. And as I said, thank you so much. I love you all. It's been an absolutely amazing experience for me, and I hope that I will catch you again next week. And I also hope that you get to make as many things as you can over the course of the week that you want to make. Take care. Bye-bye.